All right, we're back.
Yes.
Another episode. So I am Dr. Roddy.
And I'm Dr. Yas.
We are excited to be with you here again. So we are on topic number 2 of the 5 non-negotiables or the 5 essential things that we feel everybody should consider. We talked about sleep. So if you haven't listened to that, go to that episode. It was pretty good. We talked a lot about what we individually do for sleep and sleep aids and all the other wonderful things with sleep. And then today we're going to talk about movement. And we got 3 more after that. So we're going to get those out hopefully soon for people to listen to. So I know that you live a completely sedentary lifestyle. So you don't move at all. You're a couch potato.
Not
you
at
hate
all.
exercise. You eat processed food, and you drink soda all day.
Yep,
So why
all
don't you
day,
move
every day.
more? Why don't you move and exercise?
I just hate moving.
You know, maybe 6-7 times a day. See what I did there?
We just talked about 6-7 today. Oh my god.
No, let's talk about movement.
I
What do you-
still don't understand.
I don't understand what that
6-7, but
means.
whatever.
That's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have 6 parts to this. All right, so movement.
Yeah.
We could talk about this for 9 years.
Yeah.
So as chiropractors, obviously we know the benefit of joint movement and mobility and all those things. So movement is such a broad term. So
Right.
why don't you in 30 seconds or less try to define the importance of movement from a systemic perspective?
Okay. So movement is essential mostly it's essential for your overall health, but the thing it impacts directly, immediately are your joints, because what it does is it pushes the fluid into that joint space, which supplies the joint space with nutrients. So the less you move, the more arthritis kicks in. So arthritis is not a normal part of aging. Everyone that's old doesn't have arthritis. It is a part of not moving. People that are old don't move. As we age, we move less, and that's why arthritis kicks in.
Right.
So the more we move, the more nutrients are getting pushed into those joints, and the more it lubricates, and it heals, and it promotes healthy tissue in those joints. Right.
And arthritis is joint inflammation in the broader terms. Many forms of arthritis, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, there's a lot of it. We all get it. We all develop some level of joint inflammation, right? Even your avid runners or avid triathletes or gym goers or whoever, they will develop some joint inflammation as we age. But I agree, the sedentary people, it's kind of, you don't use it, you lose it kind of thing, right?
Right.
You don't have
and
that.
that's the hard thing with age, is that when you do get age-related arthritis, the reason why that sets in is because as we age, naturally we move less.
Yeah, able to move less.
We're able to move less, but if we continue to move the same amount that we move, or at least just move consistently as we age, the arthritis will not set in as deep, right, or as much. So movement is just really important for just keeping those joints mobile and lubricated and young, right? So you think about like people that have been doing yoga all their life, and they're 80, 90 years old, they're still able to do all these crazy bends and poses. Well, they never stopped.
They've been doing it forever.
And they never stopped, right?
Yeah.
So that's really important. But movement is super important in the morning, right? Getting your body moving in the morning is really, and even if you just move after you eat, that helps decrease your blood sugar rates by like 50% if you just did like a little bit of walking around. Something after you eat. So movement's just really important to help your joints, help your blood sugar, and just your overall mental well-being as well, right?
Of course, and we dealt with this a lot when we were in practice, when people would say, it takes me 45 minutes to get out of bed. Now, when they're injured and hurt, that's a different story. But if they have let their bodies decline or degenerate, and they didn't realize that they were just on this downhill slope of just unfortunate poor health, it's going to become more difficult to get up and going. I've heard people say, I get up and then I sit at the end of my bed for like 20 minutes before I can take my first step because my knees kill, or my hip or my back, and And if we turn the page and go backwards, we probably could find out when that stuff started to really degenerate on them. And to your point earlier, the more we move, and everybody can move in different ways, the less likely we're going to have those kinds of ailments and conditions, minus injury. You could,
Right.
pick up something and throw your back out, or, twist your knee playing pickleball or whatever, So those are different, but for chronic stuff. Yeah. What about, let me ask you a question. What about, somebody cut you off. What about, how do people evolve movement? Let's say you're 25 years old and you love to go to the gym, you lift weights, and you like to run on the treadmill and do all this stuff. And then as we age, our movement should evolve, right? Like you said, the people that, and when they're older, are doing some type of yoga because they've done it their whole life. So talk about how movement can evolve as people evolve.
Well, I mean, I just think about my own life and how, after being an avid tennis player, I was a marathoner, and then I was a triathlete, and now I don't do any of that. I play tennis maybe once a week, but I don't run.
And you like to hit people with tennis balls too.
Yeah.
You play tennis, yeah. She likes to hit old people. Everybody listening, she targets old people at the country club, and she pelts them with tennis balls in their back.
Listen, their reaction times are not good.
They're not moving very quick. I'm just joking.
So as we age, obviously we don't want, you can't, if you're able to continue running, that's
Go
great.
for it,
but, we go, as women too, we go through hormonal changes. So, going through menopause, perimenopause, you can't really do those things anymore because that affects your hormones and your cortisol levels and all the rest of it. And we can talk about that in another episode. But even still, even as you age, you should still get up and move. I remember we had a patient many years ago, and she was saying, she's like, Dr. Yas, I get up, I sit at the edge of my bed, and I know it takes me sometimes 20 minutes to get out of bed, but I know I have to do it.
She does it.
And I get up, and I go for my walk, and I just know. She goes, and it does help that I have a dog that relies on me, but if I don't do that walk, the rest of my day is miserable.
Yeah.
And it's because of that walk and just moving that made her not only physically feel better, but mentally she felt better.
Yeah, absolutely. Think about the days. I think we are both morning workout people, and some people work out in the afternoon. That's fine; doesn't make a difference. But those days when you don't get your exercise in or workout in the morning, it's like taking your coffee away. It really derails you. If they have an early meeting, and even with that, there's still an opportunity to do something. Maybe it's not your normal routine. Maybe you're not getting in your car, driving to the gym for an hour workout. You don't have time to do that, but doing something to kind of get your day right, and then hopefully fulfill that need later in the afternoon if you have to do an afternoon workout.
Right.
It's such a game changer because for me, it's not even as much for me physically, but my mind, my focus is not the same when I don't go to the gym.
Yeah.
It's not the same at all. Yeah. And now it's become just a part of life, and that's what you want, right? You want it to be part of your life, So
I find a lot of mornings when I just don't have the energy to get up. I at least do my yoga class.
You do something,
right?
Yeah.
I do something. And every morning before I even have my coffee, sometimes while I'm having my coffee, I will do a whole stretching routine.
Yeah.
And it's just a quick, 10-minute stretch that I do, whether I'm talking to Chris or whatever, it's time for us to connect, but also I'm stretching while we're just connecting. So it's nice.
One thing that I just thought of too is, I think that as parents of teenagers or just parents in general, I think that when parents set the foundation of exercise, and in this case movement, with their kids, it's part of the lifestyle. Like when your kids see you do something active regularly, you hope it becomes part of their lifestyle. We grew up that way. Our folks were very, very active, and we were, they weren't bodybuilders or power lifters or triathletes, but they always went to the club, right? They went to the gym. It wasn't a club. It was actually a fitness club.
And mostly Dad would go to the sauna.
Yeah, you go to the sauna, but he went to the gym. It took a movement to get to the sauna.
Yeah.
No, but I think that as parents, the more, and this is in many facets of your life, as parents, when your kids see you having these types of habits and routines, healthy and unhealthy, unfortunately, they will adopt those same things, and that's what you want. You want them to make movement part of their routine and going, I used to go to the gym with my parents, or I saw my parents do it, so I'm going to do it type of thing. So I think that's really, really important, so.
Going from movement to a more specific type of movement that is very crucial, let's talk about strength.
Yep.
Right? So why is strength so important?
So right now, obviously, the biggest craze of everything health related is peptides and weight loss and things like that. And I'm just bringing that in because, and I know we're going to talk more about that, but when people are on these peptides and they're not strength building, they're not getting the benefits of what should be happening, But strength building in general, as we age, is so important for, if we bring it back to kind of our world of bone health and bone density and just building that muscle mass you need to function and live healthy is so important,
right.
So
I always say Americans are overfed and undermuscled.
Yeah.
Right? So as Americans, even though we have so many gyms in our society, in our communities, a lot of people, especially in our age group, in women, only 20% of women 45 and older strength train.
Yeah, what are they doing instead?
Cardio. Why? So they think, because we come from that era of like the cardio bunny, and we think, we got to do cardio to lose weight.
Yeah.
Actually, you'll lose fat faster if you strength train.
Yeah.
But more importantly, muscle actually acts as like a glycogen sink.
Yep.
So the more muscle you have, the more the sugar you eat in your diet, whether it's good or bad carbs, any kind of carbohydrate gets absorbed by your muscle and doesn't go into your bloodstream.
Yeah.
So it really helps maintain proper blood glucose levels, blood sugar levels, and prevent diabetes.
Yeah.
So it's very uncommon for someone that has a high muscle composition to have diabetes, type 2 diabetes.
I think strength building or movement and strength building also kind of spills over into the 40 plus demographic of people that have deficient hormones, who don't have the energy to lift or don't have the ability to lift heavy or just lift in general. And again, so many different, it's like we talk about a topic and there's so many subtopics within a topic.
Yeah.
But if your hormones are in disarray, and for men, my age, 51, if your testosterone level is the low range of normal, 300, and you're not getting the results you want at the gym, or you can't even lift heavy, you're just not, you have to fix that problem to be able to lift, to be able to have that longevity you hope people are thriving and striving for. You know what I mean? So
and women too, they need testosterone. As we age, and especially through the menopause transition, we lose our testosterone. We have to have it. Not as much as men, but we have to have. So you have to supplement with testosterone, with estrogen, progesterone, all the things.
And bone health, super important. Women are more prevalent to having osteoporosis and decreased bone density, which can lead to fractures and all these other conditions and things like that. So again, nutrition plays into that too, but basic strength building, muscle building is super vital for longevity. And like we said, just evolve what you do with what you feel comfortable in doing, but doing nothing is not an option, or you know what I mean? So you don't have to be a power lifter. You could do resistance, you could do bands, you could do anything, body weight, things like that.
As long as you're, if you don't have the right amount of body composition of muscle, as long as you're building muscle, then it doesn't matter, you've got to do enough weight where you can only do 6 to 8 reps. That's how you build the muscle, right? So sometimes you'll move out of you'll grow out of the resistance band phase quickly, right? Because it's not going to be heavy enough. So you do have to progressively overload, otherwise you won't build the muscle you need.
So what if, let's just say, hopefully people are listening, but let's say we have somebody listening who is 56 years old, female, and who hasn't been to a gym in a long time, hasn't lifted weights. She walks and doesn't know what her hormones are like.
Right.
There's so many things we can do evaluate. What would be your advice to somebody that's like, I want to start strength building. I don't know where to start. I'm intimidated to walk into these gyms, or even I walk into these box gyms and there's a million people there. I don't know what's going on. Or if I go sign up for a more of a boutique gym, I'm intimidated because I can't keep up. What would you say to that person?
So there's a couple ways you can approach this. You can have them do some body weight exercises and just follow along a YouTube video that they could do. Or there's great apps like the Peloton app I think it's like $12 a month just for the app. Or other apps that have good programming that you can do with just 5-pound weights. You always start off light, whatever you can do to build that foundation. And then after a couple weeks, if you're finding you're doing 6 to 8 reps, no problem, increase the weight by 5 pounds. Yeah. You always want to increase the weight. So wherever you can start. As long as you're moving,
just
start.
doing it.
Yeah, just do it.
Based on your age and what your goals are, finding a personal trainer that can understand. I think that there's no excuse not to move is what I'm trying to say. And I think the suggestions that you made are great. And I'm always so inspired when I see people that are 30 years, 25, 30 years older than me at the gym, and they're there every day. It's kind of like the lady you mentioned who gets up every day and does it. We have blessed to have some great members at the gym that we work out at, and you just see these people, and you're like, man, most people your age are not, they're not here, and you can tell it's just been part of their lifestyle forever, and it's inspiring, and it's just the proof that it works, proof that it works, and they're running, and they're jumping, and skipping rope or whatever they're and lifting, so it's pretty cool. That
was one thing I was listening to. Hiraman, who's one of my favorite podcasts.
He's awesome.
And he had a
he's
guy.
probably listening to this.
Yeah,
he's totally listening.
He's actually,
I'm drinking his yerba mate, so please send us more of this stuff. It's really good.
But he had a guy on an episode, and he was talking about how important it is as you age to not just walk or just run, but it's more effective if you jumped and skipped and added a couple different agility things. So I actually started in my workout once a week. I'll do the jump rope, but I'll do jump rope with on a basketball court with the lines. I do it in different patterns because he said to do multi-planar type patterns. So it helps your brain just keep that agility, and it's just interesting. Yeah. And this one guy, he was like skipping for like 5 miles.
Wow.
Yeah. He set like a world record for skipping. It was crazy. But
that's crazy.
Yeah.
But just movement's good for you. So if you're not moving, start moving. If you have any questions on what you should do, what you can do, let us know if there's any advice we can give you, or if there's things that you do to move on a daily that you like to share with other people. We'd love to hear that as well. But
just send us a message, and we'd be happy to answer any questions, or if you have any suggestions or anything that you do, we'd love to hear it.
So please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this information, and we will go on to our third of our non-negotiables in our next episode.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
The information provided in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. While we may be licensed healthcare professionals, this content should not be used to diagnose or treat any medical condition or to replace the advice of your personal healthcare provider.
Always consult your doctor or a qualified health professional with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Listening to this podcast does not create a doctor-patient relationship. Reliance on any information provided is solely at your own risk.